You're watching KNDO Channel 23, Yakima. And this is KNDO News 23, Late Edition.
Good evening. Thanks a lot for watching. The small community of Sunnyside's doing all it can to keep a positive image. But for a town that's been barraged with bad news since the beginning of the year, that can be tough. Racial tensions have been blamed by many for some of the conflicts. Tonight, the City Council approved unanimously the creation of a Community Relations Task Force. It's scheduled to run for 4 months, but some Hispanics say they're looking for a more permanent solution.
Effort to do a permanent Community Relations Board to address long-range planning rather than to address crises that come up on a weekly basis, daily basis. We're concerned with a long-range planning versus the crisis-oriented task force.
Council members say there's a chance the task force would become permanent, but Martinez says they're headed in the wrong direction.
We do not want to be addressed as a crisis in Sunnyside. We want to be part of the integration of the city of Sunnyside.
5 members of the Hispanic Community Relations Commission are being considered for task force positions, but Martinez says he will recommend they withdraw their applications. While most of us were asleep last night, local orchardists were out fighting off the cold weather. Temperatures dipped way below freezing, and it's going to be a repeat tonight. And in Pomona orchards, the cold weather got the best of some blossoms.
Don Parmentier double-checked his sprinkler systems this afternoon, preparing for what could be another cold night. He's had a total of 8 hours of sleep over the past 3 days, because like many other orchardists in this area, the cold weather's got him worried.
I came out about 8:30 to turn on the water. In about 30 minutes, it dropped 3 degrees, so I just stayed out here and called my men and started the fans, and we started lighting, and we lit most of the night and filled pots at the same time.
The Pomona area tends to get colder than other parts of the valley, and last night it did get dangerously cold.
Well, it usually gets coldest about an hour or so before sunup. It got down to about 27.5, 28 degrees.
The blackened center of this blossom shows it didn't survive last night's freeze.
We have damage, but it's not major. We still have a crop. And
Parmentier says it's too early to tell just how much damage was done last night, but he says blossoms like this one show that despite some loss, there will still be a crop to harvest. Reporting from Pomona, Anna Katayama, KNDO News 23.
The cold temperatures are expected to stick around for a few more days, so the Yakima County Clean Air Authority is asking growers to properly maintain their certified orchard heating pots. That'll help keep the air quality in the area at acceptable standards. So Washington asparagus industry embarks on another season. It's supported by a first-ever industry-sponsored promotion program. Some asparagus growers already have workers in the fields almost 10 days ahead of the normal starting date, and some growers have even begun harvesting. It seems that other growers will also be able to harvest if weather permits. The Washington Asparagus Commission says the early start on the crop will provide some good marketing opportunities for the industry. There is some concern, however, that the early harvest will cause early production peaks and dampen prices. Growers say they'd like a nice gradual flow of their product. The trial of the former Yakima County Fire Chief Robert Udell delayed once again. This is the 4th time the trial has been rescheduled. Udell is charged with raping another man. The 21-year-old victim was allegedly raped after Udell gave him a ride home from a Zilla restaurant. The incident allegedly occurred last summer in 1991. The most recent delay was requested by the prosecution. Apparently, the main prosecutor in the case is ill. The new trial date set for June 1st. For high school students, spring break usually means relaxing or vacationing, but for a group of Western Washington students, it means hard work. Several students are in Yakima this week helping lower-income residents refurbish their homes. The teens give up their breaks as part of a church mission. They come with good attitudes and all their own supplies paid for with their own money. Their group leader says the goodwill is driven by a spiritual cause.
It's just a really neat opportunity. It's a chance to show what God has done in their life and have a chance to express that to other people.
The project is in cooperation with Habitat for Humanity and Save a House, Create a Home program. A gruesome murder in Tacoma this weekend. 2 young boys were found hacked to death by their own father. The man told police he has the right to kill his family. His estranged wife called police and told them Her husband had killed their children and was chasing her. Roberto Romero reports.
The chaplain says anybody would have a hard time dealing with it. A father, 37-year-old Cherno Camara, gets a hatchet and brutally kills his own sons, 2-year-old Mohammed Camara and 3-year-old Bakari Camara. Camara apparently attacked his wife, 40-year-old Patricia Johnston, when she tried to stop him. The rampage apparently began after a family fight. Now, a few days later, the chaplain says Johnston has begun questioning herself.
It was stated that she's already dealing with it at that level. If I would have just maybe moved away or did this, maybe this could have been averted.
Not much is known about Camara. He moved to the United States from West Africa 5 years ago. Camara recently graduated from the Job Readiness Program at Goodwill, where he was also working. Co-workers say they're shocked and can't believe it. The chaplain says family members may not be as shocked to know Camara was violent.
A history of abuse? Do these people?
Some law enforcement officials were hoping for
Yes.
I'd like to see the... Johnston remains hospitalized at Tacoma General under strict doctor's care, while her husband, only a few blocks away, remains jailed under strict surveillance. Prosecuting attorneys are deciding what to charge him with.
Well, but the question is, what form of homicide is it? Murder, second-degree murder, manslaughter, aggravated murder? And that's where we have to look at the individual's intent and whether there was premeditation and those things to determine what level of crime it is, not just whether or not the crime was committed.
Camara appeared this afternoon in Pierce County Superior Court. He has been charged with murder. Opening arguments were heard today in the homicide case of 15-year-old Rafael Alcala. Alcala was shot and killed while in his car on East F Street. The shooting took place last November. Police made one arrest in the shooting, 17-year-old Jesus Chavez. Chavez is accused of being an accomplice to first-degree murder. Police say the boy admitted to driving the car from which the fatal shots were fired. The defense claims that Chavez drove the car under duress, fearing that he would be shot if he didn't go along. The judge has previously ruled that Chavez should be tried in juvenile court rather than the adult court. This means if found guilty of the charge, the teen will serve a maximum sentence of about 3 years or until he reaches the age of 21. Washington State United Way executives are now being questioned about their salaries. This comes after the recent salary controversy of the national United Way president. The Tacoma News-Tribune surveyed 8 county agencies that account for most of the United Way work here in Washington. They found the King County executive as the highest paid with a salary of $143,000 a year. The Tri-Cities executive makes $69,000, and the Yakima United Way executive makes $51,000 per year. Salaries are set by the board of directors of each agency. According to the National Center for Charitable Statistics, this is usually 72% of what they are in business and government. The Statistics Center says that the King County executive...
Place for supper tonight.